It's The Log. I'm Charles Purcell. Oh, if you missed the debate last night, congratulations. You do not have the brain damage that the rest of us suffered. We are all much worse off for having sat through that thing. Everything you're hearing today, all the what may sound like over-the-top commentary, it's not. It's impossible to go over the top. They jumped the shark last night. Yep. America jumped the shark. The single most depressing, pathetic political display I've seen in all of my years. And I've been following politics closely since, let's see, I don't think I've missed a presidential debate since 1972. And there is nothing that even comes close. Chris Wallace of Fox News, he made some attempts, but he mostly failed at reining in the Orange Menace, who was just in full character. First of all, I got to say, the deplorables, I'm sure, loved it. They loved it. Constant interruption, just lying. Every time he opened his mouth was a new lie or something outrageous. And Joe Biden didn't help the cause too much because he was just, how can I describe Joe's performance? Uneven at best. He tried to throw dirt right back at him, called him a clown, told him to shut up. Just shut up, man. Just shut up, man. And some of us thought, oh, yeah, great, okay, that's what we need. That's what he needs to hear. But in the end, it's just not very satisfying. The basic format was 2 minutes each. That's about as much of a format as I could figure out. And Joe Biden never got 2 minutes. He never got more than a few seconds before the Orange Menace was interrupting. And Joe was very uneven the way he responded. Some of the time, he just kept looking straight at Chris Wallace, continued to answer the question, and ignored the bloviating coming from his right. Other times, he'd stop and pause and kind of smile, as though to say, oh, this guy. What are we going to do with this incorrigible toddler? And he'd kind of smile with those big old Biden white teeth. And then other times he'd actually respond to the interruption. So he allowed Trump to take him off of his point, to lose his train of thought, to take him off of his talking point, and respond to Trump's heckling during Biden's own 2-minute time, allotted time. So he let the bully win. And again, sometimes he got down in the dirt with him. Other times he rose above. But it was very uneven. Never got into really much of any straight answers for more than a few seconds. It was just pathetic on every level. It was depressing. And again, you're hearing the commentary this morning and maybe last night. None of it is exaggerated. It's impossible to exaggerate the abomination that was last night. Oh, man, I just can't. I can't even. Of all the low moments, the lowest of them all, the most outrageous of them all, has to be this. Reading now from Business Insider. The Proud Boys, you know who they are, right? The Proud Boys, a far-right extremist organization that's been designated a hate group, are celebrating online after President Donald asked them to, quote, stand back and stand by during the first presidential debate on Tuesday night. Members of the group praised Trump's call out resharing his remarks and even embedding the words in a new graphic with their logo. "Standing by, sir," wrote one user who identifies with the group on the social media app Telegram, according to Mike Baker, a correspondent for the New York Times. President told the Proud Boys to stand by because someone needs to deal with Antifa. "Well, sir, we're ready." Another organizer, Joe Biggs, posted. The Proud Boys hold anti-immigration, anti-Muslim, and misogynistic positions. They've been labeled a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Yeah, some tweets here. Trump basically said to go f*** them up. "This makes me so happy." That's from Joe Biggs. Enrique Tarrio writes, "Standing by, sir." Joe Biggs writes again, "President Trump told the Proud Boys to stand by because someone needs to deal with Antifa. Well, sir, we're ready!" Exclamation points, two of them. And Joe Biggs again, "Proud Boys shout at the presidential debate." I think he means shout out. I don't know. Trump's remarks came during a debate segment, if you could call it that, dedicated to race, when moderator Chris Wallace asked the president, "Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down?" A back and forth that ensued between Trump, Wallace, and former Vice President Joe Biden. Yeah, because Trump paused. There was a moment of silence, like, this ain't going to happen. And then, as I recall, Trump said something like, be specific, name one. And Wallace wasn't taking that bait. He said, white supremacy. Will you condemn white supremacy? And this is the little scrum now that's happening because Biden chimes in and says, the Proud Boys. How about the Proud Boys? So Trump takes that suggestion. And that's when he said, okay, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by, Trump finally said. And last night, the Proud Boys were tweeting in ecstasy over this. They got a shout out from their president. Yes, sir. And this was in the context. This was right after he was talking about, well, I'm going to encourage my people to go out to the polls and see what's going on. You know, he's got these poll watchers we've talked about that he wants to send out. So he's basically inviting groups like this to go out and intimidate voters. What a night. What a night. All right, let me just, I can't really, I can't deal. Let me read to you from some of my friends. Jenny Gao, great social media friend of mine, great commentator. She wrote this last night. Here's the thing about tonight's debate. Trump talks like an abuser, which is a huge turnoff to those of us who want him out of office. But his abusive language is precisely why some people listen to him. Abusers reprogram people's minds in two ways. Some victims become submissive. They normalize their abuser's behavior, learn to cater to them, and cease to see what the rest of us recognize as violence. Other victims learn to identify with their abuser and become abusers themselves. Still other abuse victims are a hybrid, victims in most circumstances, but abusers in any situation where they have some power, like in parent-child relationships. Laugh, cry, ridicule, do whatever you need to cope with what a hot mess that debate was. But do not underestimate what this was. Trump is quite literally altering the minds of people who support him. There will likely even be people you love who are vulnerable to the effects of abuse, whom you won't recognize as a result of this presidency. It's going to take a very long time to repair the damage he has done. Yep, that's my pal Jenny Gao. All respect to Jenny. She's a good commentator. I look for her thoughts when I'm having a hard time formulating my own. Everybody was saying it last night, and I certainly shared the opinion. Just a pit in my stomach. I had one friend I was texting back and forth with during the so-called debate, and she talked about how she was breathing heavily. And I felt that. I felt my heart beating. And afterwards, the comments, people were sharing the same experience. If you missed it, consider yourself fortunate. This is something you do not have to go back and see this. And Jenny talks about how even people you love will be changed by this experience. Not just last night, but the whole relationship this country is having with the Orange Menace. I've seen that in a couple of my friends. I won't name them, but I've got two friends I'm thinking about right now. Both of them conservative or libertarian. I've always known that about them. But in recent months, in recent weeks, and even in recent days, I've seen the change. Off the deep end. Crazy conspiracy theories. Cruel, vicious kinds of language and imagery in their social media. It's like, what has become of you? They're becoming monsters. I'm telling you, one of these friends I'm talking about, I'm tempted to call him out. I said I wasn't going to say his name. It's taken me a little, it's taken some willpower not to do it. He's an anti-masker. He's a full-bore Trumper. Yeah, he's gone off the deep end. I'm going to resist the temptation to call him out. All right, I am sharing some thoughts from friends because I'm feeling, still from last night, feeling a little bit of shock and awe and incapable of dealing with this properly. Good friend Audrey Crabtree, who I worked with at Dudley Riggs' Brave New Workshop and Instant Theater. We talked about Dudley last week. It was just last week we lost Dudley. Audrey Crabtree has made a career out of being a clown. She's a beautiful person. I love Audrey. And she just had to tweet, why do clowns keep getting insulted? So good for her. Yeah, clowns are wonderful people. You can make clown jokes, and some people are afraid of clowns. But if you know anybody who's a professional clown, that's a good person right there. You want to hang out with that person. They do a beautiful thing in this world. And of course, the kind of a joke or quip here is because at one point, Joe Biden called the Orange Menace a clown. He called the president of the United States a clown. Now, again, we kind of all had mixed feelings about this. If Joe had been consistent, if he had really committed to the insult thing, that would have been one thing. But he didn't. He just sort of slipped it in, and you could tell he wasn't quite comfortable doing it. It was a little bit, the delivery wasn't there. The full punch wasn't there. And then he was inconsistent because then he'd go back and try to be presidential. So Joe had to pick a lane, and he wasn't able to do it. Be presidential, be above the fray, ignore the toddler. That's one lane. Or the other lane, get in there right there with him, mix it up, call him a clown, tell him to shut up. Shut up, man. Oh, come on, shut up, man. You're the worst president in American history. All things he did, things he said, but they were just sort of sprinkled in and sort of out of character. I haven't really talked too much about Joe, but he was horrible. I just couldn't stop thinking about Bernie. Bernie would have had Trump for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He would have eaten him alive. In fact, I would venture to say that any one of the 22 original Democratic candidates would have done a better job than Joe Biden. Not happy. Not happy at all. As disgusted as I was with the Orange Menace, I was equally as disappointed and unimpressed with Joe Biden. I had some back and forth going on in social media with friends. We were sharing thoughts. The only thing I posted afterwards, let's see, what did I post? Oh, the meme going around, if 2020 was a car, that's the caption, and then the pictures of this outrageously ugly and dysfunctional car. If 2020 was a person, it's the ugliest person you could picture. If 2020 was a this, or if 2020 was a that, and the picture is something completely unacceptable and vile and ugly. What did I see recently? If 2020 was a singer, that was the caption over a picture of Yoko Ono. So that's the joke. So I took a picture of tonight's debate, the two candidates and Chris Wallace, and I inserted the caption, "If 2020 was a debate." That was my little contribution to the canon. Oh, the fact checkers are all out in force, and pretty much everything out of the Orange Menace's mouth was either misleading or a half-truth or just a complete and utter lie. Let's get back to some commentary from people I love and trust. Now, actually, I don't know this person. This is someone named Audrey Martinovich. Give her credit. But she wrote something that I felt worth sharing, and it's this. I would write something snarky, but there are too many serious red flags that were raised tonight. Among the most worrisome is Trump saying that he urges his supporters to go out and observe polling places to make sure the election is fair. That's what I was talking about earlier, and that's a quote. I urge my supporters to go and observe polling places to make sure the election is fair. He also said, Proud Boys stand back and stand by, which we talked about. But here's the rest of the quote, which Audrey shares. Here's the full quote. Proud Boys stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left. In the melee, Joe Biden did say Antifa is an idea, not a group. But I don't think anyone heard him. I mean, I heard him, so I suppose a couple people did. I can't be the only one. But I don't think most people heard him. Reading again Audrey's comment. The Proud Boys have already put his statements on a logo. A f***ing hate group. There are going to be white supremacist who think it's their job to police polling places now. Awesome. Audrey Martinovich, thank you for that. And becoming a go-to guy here, news veteran Dan Rather, as usual, says it for us. You know, he's such a mainstream guy. He's no Chris Hedges. But I can't help it. Dan Rather gets it done. Here's what he had to say about last night. America is hurting. Really hurting. Thousands of people are dying every week. Jobs lost, lives thrown asunder, the West on fire. Our international standing at the lowest point I can remember. We need leadership. We need empathy. We need unity. We need justice. We need hope. Who won and lost tonight in a horse race sense, I don't even want to address. Frankly, I don't give a damn. This was a sad, sad, sad night for this nation that I love with all my heart. This is a moment to mourn what we have lost and are in danger of losing. I don't want to hear from the pundits. I want to hear from the people. I want to hug all of you in a warm embrace and say, we must be a hell of a lot better than this. We need to dig deep into our moral character. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror and into the hearts of our neighbors and fellow citizens. We need to embrace a patriotism that is broad, inclusive, and just. We know bullies. We know when racists refuse to denounce racism. We know when autocrats try to undermine democracy. There will be an election, and then there will be a future. No president is bigger than the nation. The American people have a voice, and after tonight, I sense millions are eager to turn their yelling at the television into marking their ballots. Dan Rather. Yep. I am embracing the coalition with anybody and everybody in America who will embrace common decency and who will denounce and reject the Orange Menace. Yes, I'm a lefty. Yes, I'm a lot more Chris Hedges than I am Dan Rather. I'm a lot more Cornel West than I am Wolf Blitzer. But I'm with everybody right now. I'm with you, Dan Rather. I just want to hug everybody in a warm embrace and say we must be a hell of a lot better than this. At this point, I don't care. Radicals, lefties, progressives, liberals, moderates, conservatives, Republicans. We have to be together at this point. We have reached a low that no one expected. At this time yesterday, anticipating the debate, nobody could predict this. Sure, we expected the worst of the worst, and there'd be headlines about how abominable he was. But it's this constant game we play, this psychological game, when we anticipate the worst, but we can never anticipate. We can never predict. It's always worse. On a daily basis, every single day, it's worse than we could have imagined. And part of what makes it worse for me, if the Orange Menace wasn't bad enough, I was just absolutely disgusted with Joe Biden. He has got no business in the position he's in. I am so pissed off at the Democratic Party. Any one of the original Democratic candidates would have performed better tonight. Bernie would have cleaned his clock. Elizabeth Warren would be standing on Trump's bloody carcass right now. Kamala Harris would have chewed him up and spit him out. Any one of them, Mayor Pete, Marianne Williamson, any of them. Joe Biden has no business being the nominee for President of the United States. He's weak. He's bumbling. He's got nothing. Unless there's some kind of a magic formula that can transform him in the next couple of weeks before the next debate. This is a very sad situation. So everybody's all upset. Everybody's all upset at the behavior, at the abominable, childish, vile, disgusting, inappropriate behavior of the Orange Menace, as they should be. But I'm equally disgusted and disappointed, and I might say not at all surprised at Joe Biden. This is what I expected. When there were 22 Democratic candidates, he was at the bottom of my list for this very reason. He's got nothing to offer. When the Orange Menace pulls out his favorite line, well, what have you done for 47 years? Well, he's actually 100% right. He hasn't done anything. Joe Biden doesn't have one accomplishment to his name, not one, in 47 years in public office. Not one. Tell me I'm wrong. Point me to an accomplishment. Anything. What has Joe Biden done in 47 years? And now he's just this doddering old guy still trying to decide how to handle it at this stage of the campaign. People are already voting. We're 34 days to Election Day. We've already got one debate under our belt with 2 more to go, and he's still trying to figure this out. You know, whoever wins, Biden or Trump, I think the first order of business from Congress should be impeachment. If I could write this thing, if I could write the script, when the House and the Senate are sworn in on January 3rd, go ahead and elect your leadership. Make Bernie the Senate leader, because the Democrats are going to flip the Senate. So make Bernie the leader of the Senate. Get a new Speaker of the House in there. Make it, let's say, Val Demings. Or maybe Auntie Maxine. Maxine Waters or Val Demings. I'd be happy with either one of them. So we got a new Speaker of the House. We got a new Senate Majority Leader. And then whoever's in the Oval Office, impeach him. Trump for obvious reasons. And Biden because I'm just not having it. 4 years of this guy? 4 years of this mealy-mouthed old dotard? And if it's Trump, you got to impeach Pence right along with him, boot them both out, and then we got President Maxine Waters. That's fine with me. That works for me. That's great. Because third in line is the Speaker of the House, right? Impeach the damn president, impeach the vice president. Auntie Maxine, the resolute desk is yours. If it's Joe, hey man, thanks for your service. Thanks for filling the suit. You did just enough to get elected, but seriously, you got no business in that role. So I say impeach Joe, too. That's going to be my call if he wins. I'm going to be calling for his impeachment, just out of sheer incompetence. And we'll have President Kamala. Okay, fine. Then go to your bench, grab a new vice president, and let's get this thing going. Yeah. If I'm writing the script, that's what happens. We flip the Senate. Senate Majority Leader now is Bernie Sanders. Speaker of the House is Auntie Maxine or Val Demings. I'll take either one of them. I like them both. If Trump is in the White House, he and Pence are both gone. Impeachment. Just do it in a week. Just do it like they're ramming through their SCOTUS nominee. I don't know. Can you do it before they're inaugurated? I'll have to look into the law about that. If you can do it right away, do it right away. January 3rd. If you have to wait for them to be inaugurated, I don't know. We'll look into the constitutionality of all this. Then on January 21st, begin impeachment proceedings and kick either one of them who's there. Just kick their ass out of there. I don't care which one it is. If it's Trump, take Pence along with him. President Waters, swear her in. If it's Biden, thanks, bye. President Kamala Harris. Man, last night. Oh my God, you guys, last night. 1972, I was, 14 years old? I got my merit badge in Boy Scouts in politics. And I've been watching presidential debates and I've been following politics closely ever since. And I never, ever saw a sadder display than I witnessed last night. All right, well, I'm going to spend the rest of my day trying to cleanse my palate. I'm going to just go out. I'm going to go get some nature. I'm going to go climb a tree. I'm going to go find some comedy. I'll put in an old W.C. Fields movie or something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to cleanse my palate. I'm going to get this taste out of my mouth. I am going to take extreme measures. If I was a drug kind of a guy, I would partake. This would be the time. But it's something you don't know about me. I'm not a drug kind of a guy at all. I don't even smoke pot. I know you think I would. I probably ought to. Maybe I'll start. Can anybody out there hook me up? maybe this would be a good time to start. Because I gotta alter my mood here. I'm in need of some very serious mood altering for the rest of this day. And then I'll try to get a good night's sleep. And you and I'll get together tomorrow and we'll be sunshine and roses once more, okay? Because I do love you. You know I love you. I do. I love you. This is the log. This is the log. And we are reminding you every day this week, we've changed our format in that we are going out to all the podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, wherever you find your podcasts. Go find us by searching Charles Purcell, and every show, Monday through Friday, is going to be distributed. You can download, you can subscribe. Boom, boom, boom. There we are. So make sure to do that. Thanks to our flagship terrestrial station, River West Radio, riverwestradio.com. Peter Donalds composed and performed our theme music. I'm Charles Purcell. Talk to you tomorrow.